I'm so excited about today.
Honestly, I'm in the world of spirit a lot, so that's me. Time to step out and teach. It's scary as hell, I'll tell you. I don't.
Okay, we get through it. That's Hi, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. Look, I have a guest I'm so excited about today. I have Gretchen, and she has her own YouTube channel. I'll let her talk about that. But what she is going to teach us is a little bit more about karma. There's so much information out there about karma and what it is and how it affects us. And she really has a great and wonderful way of teaching it. And so I'm going to give her the floor and give her as much time as she needs to get into what karma is so that we can really understand how it works for us and how it's working for the universe as well. So Gretchen, welcome back to my channel. And what do you do? What is your channel and what do you do on your channel?
Hi, Sheila. Thank you so much for having me. I'm wearing colors in support of Ukraine today. Obviously, I've already had my crying jag this morning over it all. My name is Gretchen Vogel. I've done trance meditations, trance mediumship, and I'm the author of 3 books. I've done this for more than 4 decades, and I'm just really stepping out with my work at the age of 70. So in a public,
it's a young age to start. I mean,
I know, I know. Now, my approach to karma was given to me by a horse. You know, what I've found in my work is that I have to care emotionally about the question. And if I can think of a really good question, I can get the answer. I may not understand the answer because when I'm in trance, I'm speaking, I'm recording it, I transcribe it. That's when I know what it said. And I can't say that I even understand the work that I downloaded back in the 80s and 90s yet. It's very dense, and it's in language that is kind of a challenge, even for me. But the one on karma was given to me by a horse, our last horse. My husband and I have been in horses all of our life. My husband professionally, I bred Connemara ponies. You would know what Connemara's are, being connected to Ireland.
I am connected to Ireland DNA-wise, but I've never been to Ireland, so just letting you know that.
Well, when you go visit the Connemara ponies and ride them on the beach. Anyway, so we've both, and horses actually connected us. My husband and I have been together like in many, many, many lifetimes. But it was the horses linked us in this lifetime. So that was cool. Okay. So our last horse, because I have rheumatoid arthritis or rheumatoid disease, my husband is working with cancer, a cancer journey. I think we're both going to be fine because we don't care if we transition to the world of spirit, but, just not yet. So Lewis is a big horse. I'm going to show you a picture of him in just a minute, who we got from a kill auction. In the later years of our relationships with horses, we were only rescuing. And Lewis had a fatal flaw that we really took us a while to find. And he was a really big horse. So when his good leg started to break down, that's when we had to release him. The meditation that I did with him was about 3 months after he was in spirit. And I think at this point, that's me reading to Lewis, but you can see that his head covers like a lot of my body. And I didn't have a horse book, so I was reading him a book about pigs that a friend of mine wrote. So anyway, that's Lewis. I just wanted to introduce. All right, I'm going to speak. Oh, there I am. Okay. So I want to read what Lewis said. As a medium, obviously, I'm in the world of spirit a lot. So finding Lewis was not hard. He's very big. He said that already by the time he came to our farm here in New Hampshire, there was such a distorted patterns here that there was no way that the horses could co-create with us. My husband and I carried such patterns of grief and loss. The horses were never going to be successful. These patterns and energy were going to distort whatever we tried to do with horses. He continued, and so as you heal and grieve these patterns, it will lay a foundation. If you carry forward your relationship with horses into the greater realities, and I thought it was very cool of a horse to say greater realities instead of dimensions, even if these realities seem more or less solid than they did on Earth. And certainly there is a potential for us going forward to be with horses again. It is worth it to heal the guilt, the history, the regret, and the loss. Not having horses does not mean the end of our karma with horses or the end of our challenge to heal. And so I'm like going, holy crap, karma is patterns and energy. I mean, I had never thought about it like that. And then because I really emotionally cared about this topic, I was doing several meditations. Louise Hay, I've spoken with her 3 times. She's kind of a buddy. She doesn't pull any punches, by the way. If you're going to talk to Louise, you better be ready because she will tell it like it is. Anyway, Louise Hay was talking to me about co-creation, that we recognize these energetic patterns that are carried in our aura. We recognize them in other people. And this is, for example, I always see somebody who has mother wounding, like I'm always like, or people who are in grief, I like gravitate toward them. So when we're talking about co-creation, even with other people, understanding these energetic patterns is important. So what are these energetic patterns? Where do they come from? They're actually our identity. We carry them with us no matter where our seat of consciousness is having experience. So right now for us, it's here. But everywhere we travel in the world of spirit, we have our identity with us, which doesn't mean that we're the same person, because past life karma is carried into birth with us. Now, I've got to get one thing out of the way right away. There's good karma and there's challenging karma. Good karma for me was the pattern of loving this earth. I've been involved in this earth for a really long time. I was told, and I have I do have a memory of being an Inca and drawing potatoes by, it was like kind of the original Pringles. We were patting mashed potatoes on the stone, and they would dehydrate. And that's how we stored our potatoes as an Inca. So I do have a memory of that. But I've been told that I worked with the Inca civilization for a very long time, getting ready for this particular lifetime. So I have the memories, and we all carry our memories of other lifetimes, not just the bad ones, but the good ones too. I have an abiding love for animals. That's been going on and on and on. So when we talk about these energetic patterns as being the blueprint or the light code, Light code of our individual seed of consciousness, these energetic patterns stay with us. So I'm sure that most of you have looked at your past lives, whether you are consciously did it with a reader or just had dreams or weird memories or synchronicities. That's when that particular pattern in your blueprint would light up. Now, I have to tell you, one of the reasons that I got really interested in karma is during the COVID lockdown. My husband and I were taking classes from the Buddhist, what is he called? The curator, the Buddhist curator at Harvard. Okay, so this guy was no dummy. He was born in Tibet. He lived most of his life in India. And he talked about karma a lot. I was brought up Catholic. It sounded so much like judgment, I mean, good karma's merit, bad karma's like demerits. And the Catholic part of me, now I loved the ritual of the Catholic, and I obviously still pray to the Blessed Mother, the Divine Feminine. But that judgment aspect, I couldn't really fully not buy it, because I mean, what do I know compared to somebody who's a Buddhist scholar who speaks, like 10 languages? But it just sort of did bother me. And so I wanted to ask my own higher intelligence source. And again, this is not me. This stuff comes through me. And so I wanted to know how karma worked. What is the mechanism for karma? I come from a very scientific family. And of course, I was the black sheep because what I wanted to know was how spirit worked. I didn't want to know physics, geophysics, or engineering. So all of my work is, I don't want to use metaphor in my work. I want to know what the mechanics of karma is. And so when Lewis said that they're energetic patterns that we're carrying, and then in other meditations it came through that this is our blueprint, this is our light code. It is stored in mind. The physical location that we could think of as our DNA, but it isn't really connected to our physical DNA. It is connected to our individuation. It is connected to how we, in our journey out from source, creator, God, mystery, whatever word you want to use, we journey into expression. And then when we feel complete in that expression, we begin our ascension, our journey back. And it's all by choice. So these karmic patterns that we're carrying, we create them. And so we can change them. And so I have a lot of information on how I change them. But let's get back to good or challenging karma. So when we have karma that kind of trips us up, things that we've done with intention that was perhaps, we all have to protect ourselves, we all have to save ourselves, and we all have to survive. And a lot of times we end up hurting other people when we do this. But the pattern of that action, we might keep with us because we want to look at it for a while. We might want to become aware of these parts of ourselves that sort of trip us up from time to time. Now, I was always into the blame game. It was always somebody else. It was never my fault. So these lessons that I was getting in karmic patterns that I created and I carried with me helped me own my can I say shit? But it helped me own my own shit. And so I would always ask myself, what was my part in this? Do I have anything that needs to be dissolved or changed about the karma that I may have stuck somewhere in my auric pattern that I may have created? So we're going to be talking about dissolution of karma too, but there's a few other things about karma that I wanted to do, and I have to look at my notes because okay, got that. Blueprint, identity, our DNA. Now we do, when we come into physical, obviously we've chosen to be human. That was a choice we made a long time ago. And humans on this planet are the only animal that are carrying an equal potential, creativity, and destruction. So we are all carrying the ability to manifest as well as the ability to destroy. And I feel like Linda G, because I'm going to say this till I'm blue in the face. It is, in universe, it's a natural law. Opposites are the engine, the momentum for the universe. Think of light, dark, heat, cold, matter, antimatter, compression, explosion. I mean, I'm not the geniuses that my brothers and sisters were, but opposites are the engine. They're the momentum for the universe. And we were the species that volunteered to carry this law of opposites in an animal, in a being. Here on this planet, we're the only one. Now, I've been told in other meditations that throughout universe, there are other species that have volunteered to carry the law of opposites. And that's kind of a scary thought. So I'm going to leave it right there. What we do is we have an innate ability for this destructive, and that's just carried in our humanness. It's not a value judgment. It just is. And so most of us watching this are light workers or light bringers, or trying to do the best we can, or, trying to figure out the choice points that will lead us toward ascension. So we would not hurt intentionally someone or something if we were aware of it. We're ignorant for so long. Oh my God, I was the stupidest young person you could even imagine. I'm just glad my angels kept me alive this long. And now it's more for me of self-destructive thoughts. You're not good enough. You're not whatever enough. So a lot of us don't experience this destructiveness on the outside of us. We may experience it on the inside of us, but just to know. So I have a little story about a Siamese kitten. We just adopted one to go with we've had a rescue for 5 years, and we thought he might be lonely. So we got a kitten. Oh my goodness. She's a hoot. So at night she was jumping on my face, and I was covered up with the covers, and she's jumping on me. And I got angry, and it's like, whoa, where did that come from? She's a little kitten doing her thing. And so the second time it happened, my angels had given me a little message that where there is great light, there will also be great darkness in potential. And I thought, okay, well, they're setting me up for a lesson of some kind. So the next time she was jumping on my face, and I got angry and I pushed the covers. I didn't hurt her. I would never hurt an animal. Not, you know, anyway, not intentionally. So I saw my anger. It was all reds and browns and black, and it was really spiky, and I had never seen it before. And I was like going, whoa, I want to stay with this. I want to see this. I want to see this part of myself. So obviously this was a karmic pattern. And now that I've seen it, I can work with it and I can dissolve it. So let's get back to what's happening in the world, because we're all, obviously, I'm praying for Ukraine. I'm wearing Ukrainian colors. I've already had my crying jag this morning over it. I know Danny Shea said that his wife was crying the other day. Sheila, I believe your last night, you were saying how we just can't stop crying, the people who are feeling this suffering in the world. Anyway, where was I going with that? I don't want to go down a rabbit hole, the rabbit hole of Ukraine. But what is happening?
I'm still here.
Thanks, darling.
Just letting you know, I'm still here. I'm listening.
Yep. What is happening is the destructive capability of one human being, which has been practiced, no doubt, for a long time. My angels, I call them angels, said to me once, it's hard to make a psychopath in one lifetime. Usually these individuals have been on this trajectory for many lifetimes. So we all know who we're talking about. And we have to understand that on some level, this is permitted. And that is one of the hardest things for us to actually wrap around ourselves. It is permitted. Destruction is permitted, no matter how much we don't want it. Many of you who are very sensitive people have come through very difficult times in their childhood. And I'm not going to go into mine, please, no. But I got well acquainted with my angels in my childhood, and God bless them, they're still with me. So the karmic pattern that we carry can be challenging ones, darkness. Guess I'm carrying some anger from somewhere. I'm guessing it's this lifetime. And now I've seen it. Now I know it's there. And that's an exciting thing to find out. So we don't really have, when we look at how we can change our energetic patterns ourselves, there's a few little tips that I can give you. One is that our energetic patterns are always connected to what we think of as our story. Okay. So my husband was a Knights Templar. He did really horrible things in that lifetime, and that still haunts him. However, this lifetime, all he does is rescue and protect. So I think he's well aware of that pattern and is changing it. Our karma is always found in our story. So say, for example, you meditate a lot. I have a friend in Ireland who meditates a lot more than I do. He translated one of my books into German, and in return, I've done mediumship for him, and we've become friends. I've never met him except on Zoom. He meditates deeply every day so that his sense of himself is not connected to his story in this lifetime. And that's a really beautiful thing. I sometimes grasp that, but most of the time I feel like, yeah, my story, I've got stuff to do here. So our karma, these blueprint patterns that come with us before we're born into this lifetime, and then we form more karmic patterns based on our experience in this lifetime. My mother and I had an extremely difficult relationship, and who created it isn't important. I've had to work at dissolving the karma or my beliefs that I had carried my whole life. It's like, my God, I was a baby. I mean, it's how is this my karma? Now, Mom and I have had several discussions about this because she's been in the world of spirit for a while. I wasn't ready to talk to her for a while, but we've had some very good connections since then. And she said to me, there will be no karma between us. When you come, we will meet as friends unless you bring the karma with us. And I'm going, wow, that's a lesson in self-responsibility. Okay, so it's up to me to dissolve the karma between us. So we are in traumatic situations. These traumas form energetic patterns that are in our aura, but we can change them. So the dissolution of karma, which is like chapter 8, 9, and 10. I don't know whether I'll ever write a book on karma, but I had to work at figuring out how to dissolve karma. I mean, I didn't get that in any instructions from the universe, but there's the Oponopono. It is, I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, in some order of those phrases. And that's all I really could reach for in terms of dissolving the karma. So with Mom, it was really important. And I always have a mala somewhere close by, and a mala is just a counting tool. I do a lot of Vedic mantra, but that's mostly so I can stop thinking. And obviously in sending personal energy, which is what prayer is, it's when we send our personal energy into a situation, condition, or event. So when I'm working with a mala, I will try and forgive myself for being such an idiot for a lot of my life. I mean, I judge myself very harshly. So like for my first marriage, although good things came out of it, I got some really neat stepkids and now grandchildren out of it. But I had to forgive myself for that experience. And so what I would do is I forgave myself for being, for holding a grudge against my mother for so long. I mean, maybe this was part of my plan. Maybe our relationship was something I constructed in order to learn something. There's a lot of mystery that we don't know. So in dissolving karma, the Hawaiian prayer is, for me, the best place to start. And then forgiveness has been the second most powerful thing, to forgive the other person and to forgive myself. But it takes, you don't just say it once and like, poof, the little cloud that was in your aura disappears. It's a little harder than that. So if you work with any counting tool, Amala, and you say, I forgive Mom for not giving me what I thought I should have gotten, right? Or what happened with me, because every morning for a long time I would do a forgiveness. I forgive either myself or I forgive the other person. What would happen is as I was doing that is another aspect of the same wound or the same relationship would sort of surface. And then I'd have to go deeper, and I'd have to go deeper, and I'd have to go deeper. So when you're dissolving karma, it isn't a quick thing, but you do know when you're free of it. And when you're free of it, it's when you can think about that person that hurt you just with love and compassion, or not think about them at all, which is also sometimes a good thing. There are lots of different ways to dissolve karma. I practice Reiki, and I also get Reiki from my teacher. She does these really neat meditations, and she works obviously with your chakras. And so she would lead me in visualization. And in one of them, my mother and I, in this visualization during this Reiki session, were on a beach here in New Hampshire. And we were the same age. We were both about 18, 16 to 18, somewhere in there. But we both were. And of course, I never met her at that age. And we were tearing these dark forms out of ourselves and letting them go, letting the wind. They were like dark scarves. They were pulling, we were each pulling them out and letting them go in the wind. And that's when, after that Reiki session, I was really able to connect with my mother in an honest, way, without the karmic patterning getting in the way. So the dissolution of karma, because we created it, we can dissolve it. Now, it takes a lot of humility and a lot of courage to look at the parts of ourselves that we hide from ourselves. That's really one of the interesting things about our ability to create and destroy, is that we hide our ability to destroy even from ourselves. So we may be confused about our self-destructive tendencies and not realize that we can change these. So let me refer to my notes again. Thank you for your patience. Okay, yep. As long as we hold on to these patterns, we will carry them in our mind. Now, you're thinking, okay, so what about the good karma? You love nature. It's the only place you want to be, is outside. I love insects. I love weeds. I love everything about nature. Even the ticks. We have a lot of ticks here in New Hampshire. They're just following their blueprint while we're trying to follow our blueprint. So what about the good karma? We can enhance that. We can enhance our dedication to light and love, because our only choice, and all of my work for 4 decades has been centered around choice. Our choice is either love or fear, and the derivative of either love or fear. The other thing that's really important for the dissolution of karma is to have awareness of our present moment. We become more and more aware of ourselves, of aspects of ourselves. And in this awareness, we're being healers for everyone else. Healing familial karma. Healing that heals the generations before us. I know it does. I can't prove it, but then isn't that what we do as psychics? We talk a lot about stuff that can't be proven. Actually, that's why I loved mediumship, because the details that I was seeing, and I worked for people all over the world, some who never spoke English, and it was all visualization. in my mediumship, the one thing I loved is that it was either going to be true or it wasn't going to be true. So, I kept I kept this kind of work more to myself when I was doing a lot of mediumship. And that's a whole other story. So again, karma is carried in mind. It's a blueprint of who we are as an individual. It's not judgment. It's not judgment. Humans are allowed to express both tremendous creativity, tremendous love, tremendous manifestation. It is also allowed that humans can express the kind of destruction that we're witnessing now. And I have to believe, as so many believe, that this is going to be the end of war, that it will draw us together globally. And everybody has to deal with their own karma. It's what we're carrying with us, like in a pocketbook. So I think that's where I'd like to stop today, Sheila.
Oh, all right, everyone. Oh,
no, honey, I have to say one more thing.
Of course.
I'm sorry. One more thing. There was a beautiful line in when I was getting downloads on dissolving karma, is to love yourself no matter what you've done, no matter how you feel that you might have screwed up in life, no matter what you see when you review your life, love yourself anyway. That was really important to get in.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Gretchen. I know that I've learned a lot, and I hope that anybody who is watching has learned a lot about how karma really comes around in our life. I mean, we're seeing it like politically. We're seeing the karma just out and out, especially with Trump. What he says about firing people or lock her up, look at where he's at now. I mean, I knew the trajectory of what he was saying back then. I'm like, this is going to come around and bite you. Mm-hmm. Like what you say, what you put out there comes around and gets you. So now we're at that point where we're like, look what he legitimately did. And he has his karma coming around as well. So absolutely. I appreciate this. I hope you come back.
You appreciate
it. Yeah. If you have any other lessons that we can do videos. So
I am so grateful. I'm just about to launch a new series on, this was taken from a meditation that I did in July of 1988. And I didn't understand it at the time. And all of a sudden I've got the awareness to understand it. It is the mechanics behind creating reality. Oh. It is the mechanics. Where does that energy come from? How is it manipulated? How does it manifest? It is like I said, I didn't understand this stuff when I was doing it, but finally I've smartened up. But I really appreciate it. My YouTube channel, my fledgling YouTube channel, is How Spirit Works, DOTCOM. How Spirit Works, DOTCOM.
And I'll put that down below.
Yeah. Oh, thanks, darling.
Yep.
And I have 3 books, Choices in the Afterlife.
Can you get those on Amazon.com?
Yep. I don't know. It's reversed to me.
Nope. I see it. It says Choices Afterlife.
Choices in the Afterlife, what we can do and where we can go after death. I've done a book on horses that is in 7 languages now.
Wow.
This Choices in the Afterlife is in 3 languages. And I did a gardening book way back in the 90s that was only in English, but it sold very well. Wow. So I am the author of 3 books. Anyway, that's me. Time to step out and teach. It's scary as hell, I'll tell you.
Okay, we get through it. That's how I learned. Well, I just stepped right through it. I'm like, I'm going to go through this door, whether I stumble through it or I gracefully walk through it. Either way, I'm going through it.
And that's why this community of love and light is so amazing. You know, Linda G, Danny, you, Lori. God, yes. I love Lori from The Way of Positive Change. She is hysterically funny. Yes. And there's so many more people that I follow. You know, I listen to podcasts. I love to listen to other teachers because I like light up. Oh my God, I heard that. You know, I've seen it from another angle. And so I'll shut up.
Always. All right, everybody. I hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you if you made it this far. We appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you, Sheila.
You're welcome, hon.